You know how you can sometimes learn the most about a culture by looking at, well, the everyday interactions, the ones that often just fly under the radar. Well, today on Everyday English Pod, we're doing exactly that. We've gathered this really fascinating collection of real-world customer service dialogues, those calls you make about everything from a wonky laptop to maybe a delayed package. And we're going to pull out some, hopefully, surprising insights about how we communicate, what's really going on beneath the surface, and of course, pick up some practical American English along the way. I mean, this entire discussion today will be in American English. Think of it as kind of a shortcut to understanding some of the subtle nuances of how things get done here in the U.S., one customer service call at a time.
That's absolutely right. What might seem like, mundane exchanges are actually packed with information. By looking closely at these interactions, we can really identify effective communication strategies, understand the common friction points that pop up when customers and companies connect, and ultimately become more savvy communicators ourselves.
Okay, so let's jump right in, shall we? When you call a company here in the States, what does that initial contact usually sound like?
Well, what's interesting is the immediate professionalism and the clear identification you typically encounter. Across these dialogues we looked at, whether it's tech support, retail, even hospitality, the representatives tend to start with a fairly standard greeting. You'll hear something like, "Good morning, thank you for calling XYZ Electronics. This is John speaking. How may I assist you today?" Or, some variation on that. It's polite, states the company, the rep's name, and immediately offers help.
It's efficient, isn't it? There's not a lot of preamble. It gets straight to the point, who you've reached and why they're there. Okay, now on the other side of the line, how do customers typically articulate why they're calling?
Generally, customers in these scenarios also tend to be quite direct. Common phrases you'll hear are, "I'm calling about," followed by the core issue. For example, "I'm calling about a problem I'm having with my internet service." Or they might say, "I'm having trouble with," "I'm having trouble activating the software I just purchased." Sometimes it's even more concise, like, "I need to check on the status of an order."
What strikes me is the clarity, or maybe the assumption that the representative is there to help. It kind of sets a collaborative tone, even if the customer might be frustrated. So the rep now knows the general reason for the call. What's the next critical step they take to, get the ball rolling?
Almost immediately, the representative will need to access specific information to locate the customer's account or the details of their issue. This is where you'll hear requests for things like order numbers, account numbers, maybe license keys, or if it's about a shipment, a tracking number.
Right. Let's think about some of the concrete examples. For the customer whose laptop wasn't working at XYZ Electronics, the rep's first question was for the order number, AX29857. Why is that order number so crucial right at the beginning?
Well, the order number acts as a unique identifier. It lets the representative quickly pull off all the relevant information about that specific purchase when it was bought, the model, warranty info, everything. It's basically the key to accessing the history and the specifics of that situation.
Exactly. And for the software installation snag with TechOff Solutions, they immediately asked for the license key, PM 2024 4X with 789. That license key it is.
Tied directly to the software purchase, exactly. It helps them verify its legitimacy and provide targeted support.
Right.
Precisely. Without that key, they wouldn't know which specific software the customer is trying to install or, if it's even a legitimate copy. We see the same principle with the billing discrepancy at CloudNet, where they need the account number, CN 7890-2145, to access the customer's billing history. And for the delayed package with Global Shipping Solutions, that tracking number, GSS 789456123, gives real-time info on the package's location and status.
It's all about efficiency, isn't it? Getting to that unique identifier right away saves time for both the customer and the rep. We see this repeated across different scenarios. Returning an online purchase at Retail Max.
Order number, RM2024915.
Having internet trouble with SpeedNet.
Account number, SN567891.
Even picking a hotel at Luxday Hotels often starts with asking for a rewards membership number, right? LS789012 if you have one.
Yeah.
Helps access your history, any benefits.
Yeah. And like you pointed out earlier, it's not always just a string of numbers. For activating software with ProSoft Solution, they ask for the license key again, PS2024X with 789. And when you're calling auto care services for car maintenance, they need your name, like Mary Johnson, and the specifics of your vehicle, a 2020 Honda Civic, to pull up records and schedule the right service.
Okay, so once the rep has that crucial identifying info and a basic grasp of the problem, What are some of the first steps they typically take to try and resolve things over the phone?
Right. This is where the troubleshooting kicks in. For many common technical issues, there are some standard first-line steps. Think about those calls regarding the non-working laptop and the internet problems. A very frequent initial suggestion is simply restart the device. Why is that such a go-to?
Well, often temporary glitches can cause devices or software to just, malfunction, and a simple restart can clear those up. It's quick, it's easy if it works, saves everyone time. We heard it in both those scenarios. Have you tried restarting it for the laptop, and have you tried restarting your modem and router for the internet?
Exactly. And following up on potential hardware things, especially with devices, you often hear about checking physical connections. In the laptop scenario, they asked about the power cable being securely plugged in. With internet connectivity, the rep suggested connecting via an Ethernet cable. That bypasses the Wi-Fi, helps see if the issue is actually with the wireless connection itself.
And sometimes the troubleshooting gets more detailed, especially with software. That TechOff Solutions rep gave very specific step-by-step instructions for the installation issue. Disabling antivirus, clearing temp files using the run command with can't.out%,
Right.
then running the installer as an administrator. What's the logic behind those particular steps?
Okay, so disabling antivirus temporarily can stop it from interfering with the installation. Sometimes security software mistakenly flags legitimate installations, you see.
Oh, okay.
Clearing temporary files can resolve conflicts from old or corrupted files, and running as administrator just ensures the program has the permissions it needs to make system changes. These instructions are a good example of how reps need to translate potentially complex technical stuff into clear, actionable steps for, well, the average user. We saw this with the laptop issue too, guiding the customer to remove the battery, hold the power button, doing a hard reset.
It's almost like they're working through a logical flowchart, isn't it? Common problems and their likely solutions. And when it comes to internet issues, if the basic restart doesn't work, they might guide you into accessing your router's configuration page. Like with SpeedNet, walking the customer through typing in 192.168.1.1, and even exploring changing the Wi-Fi channel. Why would they suggest changing the channel?
Right, so routers broadcast Wi-Fi on different channels. Sometimes these channels get congested, especially in apartment buildings or dense areas. Switching to a less crowded channel can often improve connectivity and speed. Guiding a user through that, though, requires really clear and patient instruction.
Now, let's be honest, dealing with these technical issues, or really any kind of problem, can be frustrating for customers. How do these service reps typically address that potential frustration?
Acknowledging and validating the customer's feelings is, well, it's paramount. You hear a lot of what we call empathy phrases. I'm sorry to hear that you're experiencing issues is a very common one. We heard that right at the start of the laptop call. Another frequent one is, I understand how frustrating that must be, which was also used in that same conversation. Why are these simple phrases so important, you think?
Well, they show the customer the rep isn't just a robot reading a script, right? They're a person who recognizes the inconvenience. You can immediately de-escalate things, build a little rapport.
Exactly. And once that empathy has been expressed, the crucial next step is offering solutions. And across these dialogues, we saw a really impressive range of potential resolutions.
We certainly did. For the malfunctioning laptop, they offered an express repair service pretty quick, 3 to 5 business days turnaround. For the software installation hurdles, they proactively offered free webinars for onboarding. That's a great way to prevent future issues, educating the user.
Yeah, good point. And in the case of the billing error with CloudNet, they didn't just fix the incorrect charge, they went a step further, offering a $20 goodwill credit for the inconvenience. That small gesture can actually go a long way in keeping a customer.
Absolutely. For the customer with the delayed package from Global Shipping Solutions, they really tried to recover the situation, rerouting it via priority overnight service, no extra cost. That shows a commitment to getting the product to the customer fast. They even sweetened the deal with a 20% discount on the next shipment as a further apology.
Right. We also saw Retail Max making the return process as smooth as possible. Full refund, provided a prepaid shipping label for the item. That takes away any financial burden or hassle for the customer.
Yeah, that's huge.
And Auto Care Services incentivized future business by offering a 15% discount for booking multiple car maintenance services. Even Luxday Hotels provided a 15% discount on a suite for a Gold member, plus complimentary taxi vouchers, adding extra value to the stay.
It's clear that many companies really empower their customer service teams to offer tangible solutions, sometimes compensation, to fix issues and keep customers happy.
Now, While immediate fixes are great, sometimes resolution takes time. So in those situations, managing the customer's expectations, clearly outlining the next steps, that becomes critical. How is this handled in these calls?
Transparency seems key. They're very specific about what will happen and when. For the laptop repair, the customer was told they'd get an email with a prepaid shipping label and instructions. With the billing correction, promising an updated invoice within 24 hours sets a clear expectation. And for the rerouted package, a text message with updated tracking info within the next hour. That keeps the customer in the loop, almost in real time. Why is this clarity so vital?
Well, it reduces anxiety and uncertainty for the customer. By giving a timeline, outlining the process, the company shows accountability and keeps the customer informed. It prevents that further frustration that comes from just not knowing what's happening. We also heard about refund processing times, usually 3 to 5 business days, maybe funds taking another 7-10 business days to show up in the account.
Yeah.
And for the hotel reservation, providing a confirmation number, like Chief 56789, mentioning a follow-up email with all the details that ensures the customer has a record and knows what to expect when they arrive.
And it's not just the timeline, is it? They also make sure to confirm essential contact info, email addresses, phone numbers to ensure they can follow up effectively, make sure the customer gets those updates. We even heard SpeedNet confirming the mobile number for SMS alerts about the internet service issue.
Yeah, sometimes it's also about empowering the customer with resources for the future, like ProSoft Solution offering to email a guide on manual software activation, or in the car service example, clearly explaining the shuttle service availability to the library and when the car would likely be ready.
Exactly. It's about providing all the necessary info so the customer feels informed, knows what actions to take, if any, and understands the timeline for resolution.
Okay, finally, let's look at how these customer service interactions typically wrap up in American English. What are some of the common closing remarks you noticed?
The closing is generally very polite, very professional. A standard closing question is there anything else I can assist you with today? That gives a final chance for the customer to bring up any other concerns. You also frequently hear phrases like, thank you for your patience, especially if there was troubleshooting or a delay, and a simple, have a great day.
Right. And they often encourage the customer to reach out again if needed, using phrases like, please don't hesitate to contact us if you have any further questions, or feel free to call us back if you run into any more trouble. It reinforces the idea that the company is there to support them.
We even heard in that Innotech Solutions call, where they were scheduling a demo of their AI platform, they mentioned offering a 30-day free trial after the demo. A nice added incentive.
Yeah. Good catch.
And Luxday Hotels mentioned complimentary taxi vouchers for suite guests, another example of going the extra mile. And of course, the conversation invariably ends with a polite exchange of thank you and goodbye.
Yeah, it's all about leaving the customer with a positive final impression, even if the reason for the call was initially a problem. That last interaction really shapes their overall perception of the company.
So as we wrap up this look into these everyday customer service conversations, what are some of the key communication skills and practical American English takeaways for you, our listener?
Well, we've definitely seen the importance of clear, direct communication from both sides, customer and rep. The use of standard greetings and problem-stating phrases really sets the stage for efficiency. The ability to quickly identify the issue using specific identifiers, order number, account numbers, that's crucial.
Yeah.
We've also highlighted those troubleshooting techniques over the phone, the vital role of empathy in handling frustration, and proactively offering solutions. And finally, that clarity in managing expectations and the polite professional closing, they're all essential parts of these everyday exchanges.
Understanding these patterns, the language used, it can be incredibly beneficial, whether you're navigating these services yourself or maybe if you're interested in improving your own professional communication skills. It really provides a real-world look at how businesses in the U.S. interact with their customers. So thinking about all these different scenarios we've explored today, what aspects of these interactions did you find most insightful? And maybe how might you apply some of these communication strategies and phrases in your own daily conversations, both when you're a customer and maybe in your personal and professional life too? It's definitely something to consider. And with that thought in mind, thank you for joining us for this exploration today on Everyday English Pod.